And you know how Morty gets when he gets emotional. It impedes my work, so I told him I'd take you out and give you a win.
Wait, my son asked you to take me on some kind of pity adventure to keep me from killing myself?
Wait, what did you think it was?
An execution.
So a new series I'm starting to cover now every Monday, and that is, of course, Rick and Morty. I've always loved this show, and honestly, I'm not really sure why I haven't covered it yet. Oh, well, I'm doing it now. Depending on my schedule, I'll have Rick and Morty videos up every Monday, but once Game of Thrones is over next week, the following Sunday I'll continue to have them on Sunday instead, right after the episode airs. The first thing I loved about the episode was the opening sequence. It was totally an Easter egg for the pilot episode of the series. I actually just watched that like a few days ago, so I immediately picked up on that. Rick takes Jerry on a pity adventure. It was sort of a pity adventure, but more of a Morty didn't want to deal with this shit today, but ended up doing so kind of deal. Actually, it was technically a, we're going to build up Jerry's character and make him go on a spin-off adventure with Rick. The way I would compare this episode would be to that of a Meg episode of Family Guy, except it was just much more entertaining. I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it would. The tensions between the two get really high during the trip, and I just loved how both characters organically fit together even though they're really written not to, and it's not like their tensions weren't known beforehand, but all of those underlying feelings made this apparent fake pity adventure a real one. Like I said, the big focus was on Jerry. How do we make him more likable? In what possible way do we get him to become the star of the show and have it make sense that Rick wouldn't jump in? Well, we paralyze him. Because Rick is part cyborg, they paralyze him, and it worked really well in my opinion. That acid trip though, that was the weirdest thing ever. Seriously, the weirdest thing ever.
Whoa. What is happening to me? Where is this? Where am I? Am I dead? Am I still alive?
Those aren't the questions you should be asking.
Huh?
But going back to the beginning of the episode, Jerry gets sucked into a hand dryer of sorts and is met by Rosada, who attempts to persuade Jerry to kill his father-in-law Rick, to bring him to the whirly-durly because there's a region amongst the ride that goes through the immortality field. I loved how he changed his mind right before he went on that ride. That's such a classic TV motive. Have a character determined to do one thing, but have it totally backfire right at the last second, and then we have to watch in enjoyment as that character suffers the consequences. The immortality field hilariously gets destroyed. I say hilariously because this happened.
Leave that?
The subplot was Summer becoming gigantic. Even though Morty wanted some time off, he still had to deal with this shit. He could just never escape it because, like he says, you're just like Rick, Mom, which is true. You definitely see a lot of similarities between them in this episode. Beth kept trying to prove herself in this episode, but it really didn't turn out the best. In the long run it did, but not for Morty really. I'm not sure how any of you felt about this subplot, but I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I did. There was no real dull moment when it cut back to them. It was like having the two leads in two separate stories sort of gave each of them a level playing field, if that makes any sense. It just really worked in my opinion. But those are my thoughts on the episode. What did you guys think? Did you check out the episode? If not, I'll leave a link down below where you can check it out. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.